brothers. I'm an analog photographer from New Mexico. I'm originally from Farmington, New Mexico, grew up in Albuquerque, and my grandparents still lived in Farmington the whole time I was growing up. So a lot of my experiences as a child were in the Four Corners area of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. Part of my passion for New Mexico is how my grandfather felt about the Four Corners area. My grandfather was an oil field worker, and as a young child, he would throw me in the back of the truck and say, hey, come on, let's just go to this oil site. And a lot of those places and those roads that he's taking me down, I still shoot, and I photograph down those same roads. And most people don't know where those things are or where those roads lead. And I'm lucky enough to know where most of them lead, and they lead to some great places that most photographers will never see or never shoot. Some of my favorite places that as a child he would take us to is out at the Dinazin-Bistai Badlands, and just basically take us out there and let us climb in the rocks like it was our playground. I see things in black and white. I see the textures. It really makes the composition more apparent to me through the textures and the shadows. And that's what makes me create my compositions. Because I shoot infrared, it accentuates those things, the textures, the shadows, and it allows me to create the dream world kind of effect that I want my compositions to have. Especially with digital photography these days, there's such a dependency on vibrant, exorbitant, oversaturated color. In black and white, you can't hide behind those things. The way I got started shooting pinhole photography is I used the pinhole and set it up as I was setting my lens work up. The lens work is so technical and involves so many things, whether you're metering light, setting up your focus, everything's through a viewfinder. So what I would do is set up a pinhole to capture the scene or the moment through time while I was setting up my lens work. With the pinhole, there's no viewfinder, there's no lens. It's just the whole allowing the light to expose onto the film, which is the most basic form of analog photography. Most people in the digital age have never seen a camera like that, have no idea that that can actually be a camera. And when you're shooting infrared with a pinhole, it extends the time even farther. It's, you have an extended exposure because of the pinhole. Then you put a filter in front of it that's 6 stops. Okay, you take something that would be a minute exposure and you've turned it into a 15-minute exposure. So that in itself lends to all kinds of things. One of the things that attracted me to what I was getting was the freeness and openness of it is not as constraining as the lens work is. Because of the time and the length of the exposures by shooting infrared through a pinhole gives you a real romantic feel and dream world feel, which is what I'm going for anyways. Once I started seeing the results from shooting pinhole, I realized that there was something I really wanted to follow through on and kind of take it to a place that I don't think many other people have. It was kind of like a natural progression to work up to the 8x10, I guess. One of the things about the 8x10 is it's just so big and bulky, and it's just one of those things to carry around on a tripod over your shoulders. It's a little different than doing it with a 4x5. Just recently, over the last year, got the lens finally timed right. So I'm starting to shoot the viewfinder 8x10. I've been shooting a pinhole 8x10 now for a little over a year and a half, 2 different depth of fields, focal lengths. And one of the images, new 8x10 images, is in the show. It's the Brontosaurus. Once I got this exhibit at the Booth Western Museum of Art, I was pleasantly surprised by the curator's choices of the images. Without knowing the dates in which they were shot, he pretty much selected a complete retrospective of my work from the beginning to something just shot 3 months ago. And I think it offers a great retrospective of my career and my vision of the West. One of the big challenges for printing this exhibit was not only printing older images on a new medium, on a new paper, but printing images that had never been printed before. So in the process of doing so, you have to really, start with a proof and dial your image in. When you're dialing in the proofs, you get to relive kind of when you photographed it, and really get in touch again with your initial vision that you had of the image, and kind of craft that and make that come to life again. When I lived back east and I lived other places that didn't have that wide open horizon and wide open sky, I've always been drawn back to the West and New Mexico and the Four Corners because of it. And I love to incorporate that in my imagery. One specifically that is in this new show is the shiprock piece that kind of just shows where I'm from, the way I see where I'm from, and it emphasizes that wide open sky and big horizon.